All right, and welcome in. It is officially Beat Michigan week here for the Clearviewmedia Sports Podcast. Chris Hook, Coach Rob Deck, Steve Baker here with you. And not only is it Beat Michigan week, but it's also the state semifinals. That's right, the state semis. So we have regional winners at this point, down to 4 in each division. Let's jump right into Division 1. Let's start there and then get through these. We got a little bit of some surprise things that we haven't talked about yet coming at you. It's going to be a great show. So, Division 1, let's jump right in. We have St. Ed's taking on Gahanna Lincoln at Arlen Field in Mansfield. It's a beautiful field, by the way. And Chris, we'll start with you. What do you got? You got for that team? Game, sorry.
For first of all, Coach Roy Hall, Gahanna Lincoln.
Talk about him. Yep.
That's so awesome. Speaking of Ohio State week, Michigan week.
Not only that, but he's also went to Brush. So he went to school in Ohio, in Northeast Ohio here at Brush. Then he went to Ohio State, and yes, now he's coaching at Gahanna.
It's awesome. Looking forward to this game. It's gonna be a great one. But I got to go St. Ed's. Ed's has been great all year. I don't see them losing this game, but it's gonna be a good one.
Coach, I'll go to you.
I'm going for the upset.
All right.
I'm going to Gahanna Lincoln. They're playing good down the stretch, and they look very promising. I was going back and forth with it, and after watching Gahanna and with Coach Hall there, I'm going with the Buckeyes.
So I like Coach, who had to go back and forth. St. Ed's, I saw them play earlier in the year. They had a very good year. They beat Moeller by, what was it, 3 points? Mm-hmm. No, 6-0. Sorry, 2 field goals. But I, like Coach, had to take Gahanna Lincoln, actually, take my boy Roy. I actually got a chance to play with him, so I got to go with him. He's got this team ready, locked and loaded. I think they're going to take out Ed's. And then on the other side, you have Moeller. Again, we just talked about them taking on Springfield. Now, Coach, I know you've been really high in Springfield all season long. Who do you got here? Are you staying with them, or are you going to Moeller on this one?
I'm going with Springfield. Springfield beat them last year in the finals, and I think they're going to beat them this year. And I think it's going to be a matchup between Springfield and Gahanna Lincoln, and Springfield going to bring home the trophy.
All right.
Chris, where do you got?
I picked Moeller early in the playoffs to win the whole thing, the state championship. So you guys know my policy. I got to stick with them. It's going to be a great game, though.
Tell me that you don't want to.
No, I do want to. I think Moeller can still beat. I think they can beat Springfield. That's going to be such a great game. And then the matchup with St. Ed's is going to be a good one too, a rematch.
So Chris is calling for the rematch. This is where we're all different, I guess. Is I took Moeller on this one. So Chris and I are different on the first one, different in the second. Second one we're the same. Coach and I are different on the second one. So nobody has the same bracket here. Right. So I have Lincoln taking on Moeller in the final here. I think Moeller, having that close game against Ed's kind of woke them up, and they're ready to go here. So moving to Division 2, we have Massillon and Hoban at the Rubber Bowl here in Akron. And Lamar Sperling, that kid is special. He is – how many touchdowns does he have this year, Coach?
55.
55. 55 touchdowns. How many yards?
He currently got 3,348 yards.
Oh.
Right. So, this kid, he plays like a half of football, and then he's like, all right, I'm done. Let somebody else have some fun.
But then the thing about it, he's only playing 2 quarters.
That's what I'm saying. He plays a half, and then he gives it to somebody else.
I mean, you got to look at it, and you hear people out there saying, oh, they're giving the ball too much. How? When I look at other stats and I look at other running backs, they carry the ball 40-something times, and they're getting 100-something yards. So how is this kid averaging, more carries than these kids? And he's only carrying the ball 27, 20
right.
Carries a game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
and then he's sitting out third and fourth.
Right, and getting his rest, hanging out. Drop the pen drop, he's done. But yeah, I'm taking Hoban. Hoban's just unstoppable right now. I'm taking Hoban to win this one.
It's like fantasy football numbers that he puts up every game. It's like playing Madden. You score 4 touchdowns on the first 4 plays of the game. Every game he does this. And so he's a superstar. He's the best player in Ohio. And these are 2 of the biggest teams, not just here in Northeast Ohio, but these are 2 of the biggest programs in the country, Hoban and Massillon. And to see them go at it in the Rubber Bowl for the state semifinal, it's a game that's really exciting. Coach, you going to be at this game?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
I like both teams. Don't get me wrong. I really like both teams, and I think it's great for the community. You got 2 local teams, and like like you said, some of the 2 top teams in the country going head to head right there in the backyard. On the beautiful campus of the University of Akron, you couldn't script it even more.
Yeah, I thought they were actually going to reseed them and have this game be the final and not be the semifinal. I thought that they would have seen that, but they decided not to. But the second game, also a good game. You have Kingsmill Kings taking on Toledo Central. Coach, you've been really high on Toledo Central all year long. Do you stick with them, or are you going with the Kingsmill Kings?
I'm going with the Kingsmill Kings.
What?
So I knew that. Chris didn't, as you could tell.
What?
So, Chris, what are your thoughts?
I had to go to the final.
Wow. All right, Coach, I spent a good 2 hours boning up on my knowledge about Toledo Central just so I could talk to you about this today.
So I'm going with you?
I was looking at Kings roster, and it's good. They're big. They're fast. But then I was looking at Toledo Central's lineup here. Listen to the size of some of these boys. 330, 285, 375, 320, 320. He's a freshman, by the way. 270, 300, 280. Big boys. These guys are so big. And then the quarterback, number 7, Taiwan Clark. He's a lefty, 6'4".
Is he a true lefty?
I think he's a true lefty. He's not a Tagovailoa kind of lefty.
Okay.
He's big, and he throws such a pretty ball. And then their receiver, number 11, Sam Lee, he had a great game last week. This team is so impressive. They're so impressive to me.
So who'd you take, Chris?
I'm still going to go Kings, but I'm saying this is probably going to – this is the hardest game for me to pick, definitely, and this is a game I really wish I could go see.
So I also took Kingsmill Kings. Again, that's that part of my bracket that I have no red marks. I took them to take Winton Woods out, and here they are. We're about to take out Toledo Central Catholic. That game at Wapakoneta, setting up a Hoban versus Kings matchup, which would be amazing to see.
It'd be a Knights versus Knights.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
that'd be crazy.
It'd be a nighttime, as they say.
Kings versus the Knights, huh? So Division 3, we have Canfield taking on Holy Name at Euclid. Canfield won Region 9. Sorry, I forgot to say which region these guys won, and it is Holy Name, I believe. Taking on Euclid, Holy Name out of Parma, in Euclid, sorry, and then Bloom Carroll taking on Tippecanoe. So Canfield and Holy Name, let's start there. I'll go to you, Chris, first, because you have an apology to make, I believe, from last week. Let's start there.
All right. Holy Name. Good game. I was really excited about last week's game between them and Parma Padaway. I thought Parma Padaway would be able to pull it off. It's rivalry game, big game. They almost got them the first time. Holy Name just slapped them this time. And I'm excited about this game because, Steve, you and I will be at this game.
Yes, we will.
It won't be nearly as cold as it was last Friday. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I'm going Canfield this time.
So, you Canfield, watch out. Teams he picks like to lose. So.
Always. Seems like.
I'm going with Canfield. I've been on Canfield the whole ride, and I picked them to go to the championship. I'm going to stick with them this time. Unlike in Division 2. So I'm going to stick with Canfield.
I'm also taking Canfield.
I mean, Canfield did beat Chardon. Not by much. It was a close game, but it was cold.
They beat the champs.
They beat the champs.
Yep. You can't doubt that.
You can't take it from them.
No, remember, Holy Name is another number 1 seed.
They are.
So that'll be 2 number 1 seeds in back-to-back weeks.
A lot of number 1 seeds in these brackets here. Bloom Carroll taking on Tippecanoe. I have been high on both teams this year. I think Bloom Carroll's going to take this one, though.
Tippecanoe.
Yeah, Steve, I'm shocked you went with Bloom Carroll. You've been riding Tippecanoe the whole time.
Well, I think they're going to tip the canoe this week, and Bloom Carroll's going to take it out.
We got terrible jokes, guys, all day long.
All day long. Go ahead and comment on how bad that was. So we have Division 4.
We already know the finals. We already know the finals of this, but he going with one team.
Look, I can't even get it out. He's already talking smack. Look at
I know
him.
you coming with it.
So, all right, fine, let's do it. Steubenville, Wyoming. Yeah, you didn't expect that. Steubenville's taking out Wyoming at Crew Stadium. Again, really awesome that they're playing at that stadium. I'm glad it's being used with the new stadium being built, and it's being used for something, so that's awesome. I have Steubenville taking Wyoming out there.
Ooh, that was a tough one because I got a thing with Big Red, I used to coach at Broto, and
Right.
It's a Big Red thing, and I couldn't stand that horse. But we had some great games, and Reno doing some great things down there. He's still coaching. I kind of like Cincinnati, Wyoming, but I'm going with Steubenville.
And Chris, what do you got on that one?
It's exciting with the news we got this week about Cleveland getting an outdoor soccer stadium soon.
Yeah, they got that news yesterday.
Maybe we'll start having those big games there here in Cleveland. I'm gonna go Steubenville. It's a close game. It was a tough one to call, but I just go on my instincts here. I like Steubenville in this one.
All right, and both of those teams number 1 seeds, I believe.
Yeah.
Winning their regions. On the other side, in Division 4, you have Glenville, another yet again number 1 seed. So 3 number 1 seeds facing Jefferson, a 6 seed. That's right, a 6 seed still in it as they're in the Final Four. That game being played in Perry, close to us. Finally, a game close to our side of the town. And I know, Coach, we had talked earlier about how it's more of a home game for Jefferson. It takes more time for Jefferson to get there than Glenville, and it's only a 7-mile difference.
Still a home game.
I mean, you want to find a spot halfway. I don't think it's a home game.
I mean, I get it, but I'm just looking at the radius. You're gonna get more people from Jefferson than you will from Cleveland, Glenville, and of course, I'm going with Glenville all the way. And they got a kid, Bryce West, Ohio State commit. He's going to show out. And Cordell Jones.
They also have the linebacker.
His little nephew, just running up the field, just doing his thing. Then you have they are very solid. Then you got Arvell Nelson, who's doing some great things over there, and Glenville. This is Coach Ginn's year. It's his year. Then I'm looking at the size difference with Jefferson. And then I'm looking at Glenville. Jefferson, they had a good run. Not taking it from them, but it's going to be lights, camera, action on this one.
Arvell Reese is also going to Ohio State, correct? The linebacker.
Yes, the linebacker as well.
All right, Chris. So, Coach is high on Glenville. Who do you have?
All right. Well, I agree so much with what Coach is saying right now about their size, their speed, their talent, the proximity. It definitely seems more like a home game for Jefferson than Glenville. Especially since us being from that area, we know we always grew up playing Jefferson and Perry.
Yeah.
They were both on our schedule every year. Will it be more of a home game for Jefferson? It should be. This is the furthest any team has ever made in Ashtabula County as far as the playoffs go. This is a huge battle cry to Ashtabula County to make this a home game for Jefferson, because that's the only way, having all this support, having all those people there to cheer them on, to make it seem like a home game. That's what Jefferson needs. They need to feed off the crowd. They need to keep Glenville from coming in there and feeling overconfident, like they're going to come in and just bull rush past them, because everyone's expecting that.
Yeah, you're right. And people have been expecting that when they play Jefferson all year long, I feel like. Everybody at Jefferson's played, Poland, Girard, Canton South, West Branch. They all come in going, oh, this is a practice game for our next round. And Jefferson showed up, and they've shown out. And I think Coach Hanna, being his second year at this school, and having this team ready to go, and he knows that this Glenville team is bigger, is stronger, is faster, has more talent, but he really firmly believes that his team has more heart. And I have to roll with Jefferson. I've been rolling with him all year. And we watched something the other day. Coach Ginn is worried. He said he's worried about some of the kids focusing more on their personal accolades versus their team accolades, where Jefferson and Coach Hanna is purely a team feel. It's a family feel there versus an individual.
Well, yeah, they get a lot of kids. You were just saying they're looking to go towards Division I college football. These are kids who are planning on playing in places like Michigan and Ohio State next year. It's a big shift from Perry against Jefferson. So I still got to go Glenville.
Yeah, again, I got to roll with Jefferson. I've been rolling with him. Give a shout to Coach Hanna, and why not take the upset? Why not? Talk about if they can pull this off and beat this Glenville team. It's going to change these kids' lives.
Yeah.
I mean, these kids, they kind of got forgot about during the playoffs by other people, not by us, but by other people. They kind of got pushed aside, and they're showing that they shouldn't have been.
Right.
I mean, you can get Vert in here. He's shaking his head. I mean, Grant Hitchcock, he is the real deal. Coach, I know you saw some of his film, but this kid, he puts the team on his back, and I think he's going to try to do it again here against Glenville.
I mean, it's going to be a good game, but again, my thing is this. I know Coach Ken, I know these players that, then I look at the strength of the schedule as well, and Glenville is battle tested. Not saying that Jefferson's not battle tested, but, you asking, what number 4, I think it is, the guy you're talking about, he's what, 5'11"?
Yeah, Grant, yeah. He's 5'11", 180.
He got a lot of Division I players going to be coming at him. It's going to be a whole different ballgame. You got to put your big boy pants on.
Absolutely.
And those guys, they've been on this stage before. What team's going to show up for Jefferson? You're going to just come in, you're going to play football, you're going to put your big boy pants on. It's time to get it down. I mean, just like last week at a different game, Hudson come in, their quarterback ran for 800-some yards. But then he had to put his big boy pants on, and here comes Holden.
Right.
So you got to look at the level of playing field, where you from, and how you put your big boy pants on.
Coach, let me ask you, last week when Glenville played Van Wert, they gave up 33 points, I believe. Mm-hmm. They'd only given up 59 points all season up until that game.
Correct.
What you saw the reason that Van Wert was able to have such success?
Well, the success was it was a lot of penalties, and I think at this stage of the game, let the players play.
Okay.
With Glenville, every big play, here come a flag. Every big play, boom, boom, boom. So Glenville was facing the refs, and it was facing the players.
And the cold.
And it was cold. It was snow out there on the ground. Mm-hmm. Then they got it together, and then here come Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones, he strapped it up. Second half, it was a whole nother ball game.
Okay.
They put their big boy pants on. They're like, okay, in order to get it, we got to go get it.
It's exciting. It's the most exciting game I can remember. It just from where we are.
Yeah.
The whole county is really behind this team.
Be a good game.
Yeah.
And I mean,
good for the community.
The only thing that I say for Jefferson too is, there's nothing like being that underdog. No one expected him to even be here, so why not give it everything you got and keep going? Mm-hmm. Where Glenville is kind of expected to be here, Jefferson was not. So, that may be that extra fire that Jefferson needs too.
Two teams that couldn't be any more different.
Correct.
Than Jefferson and Glenville.
All right, so going to be a good one, folks. We'll cover it. We'll be posting throughout the game as Glenville will play Jefferson again in Perry. Again, Chris said it. Ashtabula County, Lake County, come on out, support Jefferson. They need that support going against this big. They've been outnumbered, outmatched all year long. Mm-hmm. We need to win the home field advantage feel.
All right, yeah.
So Division 5. Let's move on. Ironton taking on Germantown. You guys know that I picked Ironton to win Division 5, and I'm going to stick with Ironton on this one. Coach, who you got?
We've been with Ironton since the state finals and everything started, so I'm going to stick with them. I'm going all the way with Ironton. I'm
also going Ironton. They've done nothing to show me to convince me that they're not going to win this game.
Yeah. South Range taking on Liberty Center. Chris, you and I saw South Range, and oh my God, that team came ready to play against Perry, and they destroyed them. And now they get to play Liberty Center. I have South Range taking this one home.
Yeah, South Range was so impressive. The minute the ball was kicked off, you just felt the energy that they had and the physicality they came with, and they just were ready to dominate, and they did the entire game. And we always say that special teams isn't as important, but it seems like every time a big play happens in a game, special teams wise, that usually is the play that changes the game, like the Ohio State game against Maryland. After that block punt, everything changed.
We'll get to that here.
South Range, their first punt, they downed the ball at the 3-yard line. Perry had no answer for that. They could not come back. They also had a kickoff fumble they recovered.
Yep.
And their running back, Dominguez.
Yep.
He was just incredible the whole game. Just bull rushed past everybody, and they were so big and so strong. And I can't wait to see a game between South Range and Ironton.
Yeah, and the crazy thing too is with South Range, we all picked Canfield earlier in our brackets. Canfield South Range in this, and I believe, Coach, you have South Range as well.
Yes.
So we both picked both teams from Canfield. Be fun to see that city getting escorted out of town.
Mm-hmm.
With both those, a lot of these teams getting those escorts out. Now you have two schools that are very close to each other, both being taken out of town. So that, not saying do anything illegal, but there's cops will be busy.
And they didn't play each other in the regular season, which was surprising.
Yeah, that's another thing. So, Division 6, Marion Local versus Columbus Grove. I took Columbiana Station. Sorry. That's my fault. Columbus Grove beat them. I'll admit my wrong. So Marion, I have taking this one. This game being played in Lima.
I'm going with Marion Local.
Me too.
All right, we're all on track. Kirtland and Fort Fry. What a game this will be.
Mm-hmm.
I wish we can go to that game, but we're already taken that game in Canfield. Kirtland.
Everything comes back to Canfield.
Right. Kirtland, Fort Fry. I have Kirtland taking this one. They're unstoppable, and they have been for years.
Yeah, who'd thought the last Lake County team would be Kirtland? I figured Kirtland would make it this far. I picked them to win the state. It's just surprising that Perry's out, Menner's out, Chardon's out. Chardon's Giaga, but
right.
Close enough. All the teams are out already. It's down to Kirtland and Jefferson to represent our home area.
Yeah.
I'm going with Kirtland as well. I went with Kirtland from day one.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
They tough. They tough. They're a tough team to beat.
It's crazy how good they are.
And, I was talking about last week how Kirtland was playing Mogador and how that was going to be a great game. Kirtland beat them by 38 points. So, I mean.
Yeah, Kirtland's just really good.
Yeah.
So, Division 7, we have New Bremen taking on Lima Central Catholic in Wapakoneta. There's our repeat stadium. And I have Lima Central taking that one home.
I got Lima Central taking that one.
No. Oh, I'm the lone man here. I got New Bremen.
Lima Central's been playing tough.
I know. That's why I was like, what?
It's like they just come out of nowhere. It's just like, they got 4 losses on the season. I think they're doing a great job.
No, they won 4 in a row.
Yeah. And then you have JFK taking on Newark Catholic. JFK is going to take that one.
JFK is what?
Absolutely. It's going to be a good one, but I got to go JFK.
So, guys, can you believe it? We're only like 20 minutes into our podcast, and we're done with high school football.
Man. It's exciting to get down to these few amount of games because now the games start to feel a lot bigger and a lot more important, and you're starting to see the really good teams rise to the top now.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're not going through watching Stowe and St. Ed's again.
God, Stowe. 1-9, by the way, is what he's talking about.
Hey, you guys will get them next year.
Hey, they did better than Euclid.
That's true.
But
and Benedictine.
But so not only do we have these big games, we're talking about how there's some rivals going back and forth in high school football, but it is officially rivalry week here for college football. Hence why the Ohio State and Coach, you're wearing Nike. I don't understand. There it is. Also wearing his Ohio State. As you can tell, we don't like that team up north. So we'll get to them in a minute. Before we get into the games that are this week, let's talk about the games last week. And there were some pretty the top 5 had some pretty scary games. Every team in the top 5 kind of got close. Let's talk about our opponent this week, that team up north. Almost losing to Illinois. They won it with 9 seconds left on a field goal to win 19-17.
It was crazy. I saw the score, and I couldn't believe it. I wasn't even really paying attention until I turned it on and realized it was that close.
The refs saved him.
Yeah.
That interference call was uncalled for.
Okay.
They saved him. They bailed him out. But it's cool because I want them undefeated.
Yeah, me too.
So, to play Illinois like that, I say, yeah, all like you said, all the top teams had a rough day.
Yeah.
But out of all those teams that had a rough day, we scored the most points.
Correct. And let's talk about their running back. Let's talk about him for a minute. Blake Corum, He's a good running back. He really is. He got injured, and that's kind of what took them out of that game. He tried to come back in the second half, wasn't able to really stay in, got pulled out again. And as of right now, they haven't released the injury report with him on it. But there has been some leaks here and there that some of the players may have leaked and saying that with him out, they're going to have to step up, is the leak I saw. And again, I don't know if he should play, not just because I'm a Buckeye fan, but I think for his career, as we talked about earlier, this kid, he can ruin his career if he tries to come back in.
I mean, with the injury that he sustained, it's like, he would be a fool to come back and play.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, you got to think of his career, and with that injury that he caught last week, I think that takes about 4 to 6 weeks to get that even healed. You go out there, I know it's a big game, you go out there, you want to play, but you take a hit, and now, you can't compete in. I think he's going to come out early.
Yeah.
So then you're going to be able to compete, then you have to come back your senior year. So I think the kid, he has nothing to prove. Nice runner, run downfield, and I say just he'll get better. What's your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts is I agree. I mean, you don't want to hurt your career. You don't want your chances of going pro to be injured. It's like that scene in the program where the guy hurts his leg in the big game. His whole career is over. You don't want to risk anything like that. However, he's looking at 4 games left this season. That are probably the biggest games he'll ever play in his college career. He has the Buckeyes this week. If they win, he's got the Big Ten championship and then the Sugar Bowl and the national championship game. I mean, so it kind of comes to just how serious this injury is. If he really is injured, we don't even know if that's really the truth. It's just kind of a leak that one kid was reporting.
Well, we know he's injured. We just don't know if he's going to play.
Yeah. So I guess I don't have enough information to make a real judgment here. Regardless if he plays or not, Ohio State's got to get better in the run defense. Regardless of who's running the ball back there, and they've got to do better at containing the run game. The reason why Maryland did so well against them, it was like they let I don't know his first name, the other Tagovailoa, just scramble around back there. Had all the time in the world. Every time they were getting ready to hit him, he turned around, popped one for 20 yards. They've got to do better in the front on defense, regardless of who plays on Saturday.
Yeah. So, Chris, I'm going to ask you to look in your notes from a couple weeks ago. I know you had written down the score of the Maryland, the TM up North game. I know you had that. While you do that, let's talk about TCU and Baylor. TCU escaped Baylor. Let's be honest. The number 14, they won by 1 point, 29-28. Baylor unranked, but TCU again, one of those top teams, and nail biter to get by Baylor there. Coach, any thoughts on that game?
I mean, again, you got all these teams that they're gonna wind up let Alabama back in.
That's what I'm worried about. That's what I'm worried about.
They gonna wind. I mean, because they scare me, man. TCU and a lot of those teams, they are playing close games. Georgia, it's like.
But do you let in? Sorry, go ahead.
No,
go ahead. You're good. I was saying.
It's set up for Bama.
As much as I hate Bama and I hate the team up north as well, do you take a 2-loss Bama team or a 1-loss team up north?
I'd rather. I mean,
do you know, neither one will be playing in their divisionals title. 2
Big teams in the national championship.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you take a 2-loss team that didn't go to their title game, or a 1-loss team that didn't go to their title game.
I would have to go with that team.
The 1-loss.
If once we beat them Saturday.
Correct.
And then they go ahead and make the playoffs. I said put them in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, they missed it with 1 loss. The final week of the season,
right?
To number 2,
to the number 2 team in the nation.
I mean, they should still be in the playoff bracket.
Correct, I agree. Yep.
All right. Well, so the score of the game was 34-27, Michigan.
34-27
against Maryland.
Okay.
I think I think Ohio State's going to win. You know, in my heart and in my brain, I think Ohio State's going to win. But I think USC looks good. They beat UCLA last week. They got a big game. It's rivalry week for them too. They got to play Notre Dame, one of their oldest rivals. If they can get past that, then they go to the Pac-10 championship. Get past that, I could see USC with one loss being a team that gets in. And if TCU, I was happy to see TCU beat Baylor. I like TCU. And Baylor, you know, they may not be ranked, but that's an old rivalry. They've been playing each other forever. Baylor was just ranked number 5 a couple years ago, so it's not like they're a really bad program. I would love to see TCU and USC, as well as probably Georgia and Ohio State.
So how about, speaking of Georgia, playing a basketball school in Kentucky, and it's 16-6 for that game last week.
You play Kentucky?
Yeah.
Kentucky's pretty good this year.
It was 16-6. So Kentucky held that powerful Georgia offense to 16 points.
Yeah, well, Kentucky's been pretty tough this year. They haven't been great, but it's for a Kentucky season, it's been one of their best. And you know, Georgia rivalry doesn't stop for Georgia either. They got to play Georgia Tech this week. Now, Georgia
just beat North Carolina.
Who just beat North Carolina, and Georgia Tech. Yeah, they're not. Once again, they're not having the best season either. I think they're 5-4 or 4-5, somewhere around there. But you know, it's called clean old-fashioned hate for a reason. It's a great rivalry game.
Yeah. The last game I want to talk about last week, and then we'll go into this week, is South Carolina and Tennessee. I don't know what Tennessee was doing. South Carolina beat them 63-38. I think Tennessee's out at this point. I don't think they have any chance.
No.
After South Carolina just took care of business and whooped on them pretty hard. Coach, what do you think of that game last week?
Well, from previous conversations, according to RG3, Tennessee should be what, 4th ranked?
Something like that. Yeah.
He need his head in.
Here, I can look it up.
That's probably why he's not in the league. I mean,
injuries were a big part of that.
I understand. His head had to be injured, you know, to come up with that assumption. And Tennessee's been playing horrible. You know, I don't know what it was. They played Georgia tough. Then after that tough win with Georgia, they just went downhill.
Yeah.
Instead of moving forward. I thought they would play much better, you know, but they're not playing much better at this particular time.
Yeah, you know, I said it in the our first podcast. We were mentioning about Tennessee.
Did you see that?
That was his top 5.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, he's not too far off other than Tennessee.
Ohio State 5th?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, I was saying that, you know, Tennessee, they won the national championship in '99. Haven't really done anything since until they beat Bama a few weeks ago. And then it was they were talk of the town. They were the new media stars. Everyone loved Tennessee. And since then they haven't lived up to the hype, like you said, Coach. And yeah, I wasn't overly impressed when I saw them earlier in the season. Like I said, every year we have one of these teams. We have Texas, or we have Washington State, or we have West Virginia. They win a couple of big games early in the season, and it's like, oh, they're the new team, they're the new dynasty, and then they fall off the face of the earth. So Tennessee's no exception.
Yeah, and with South Carolina beating them, South Carolina has another test this week in Clemson. Let's move on to this week. They're going to play Clemson, and if you've never been to that area, it's a really big rival there. There are stores in that area that literally half the store is Clemson and half the store is South Carolina merchandise. Mm-hmm. It's crazy to see how split it is down there. But can South Carolina show up again and beat another ranked team in Clemson?
Oh, they scored 60 points?
63, yeah.
63?
They was on the road. That was a good game.
Clemson's defense hasn't been the best this season, but it's still Clemson. Yeah. It is in Death Valley. You mentioned half the store separated, and doesn't that make you sick? It's like when we go to places and we see nothing but Steelers stuff everywhere. Yeah. It's like, get out of here with that stuff.
Absolutely.
Oh, God. Yeah, it is a big rivalry. And, our friend Darren, he lives right in the city where Clemson University is. And he says a lot of USC.
He's also a TTUN fan. So.
Yeah. They call it USC down there. They call it South Carolina USC. I think it would be so great if South Carolina could knock them off.
Oh, God, it'd be so good.
Because that's another team, like you said, I'm afraid they're going to try and put back in.
I mean, right. I I mean, Clemson's quarterback, he out for the season.
Yeah. So is Tennessee's.
That's big.
And then Hooker's out, too.
Yeah.
It's towards ACL.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. Hooker got hurt. So it's I think Clemson is playing with a backup quarterback,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken. But the kid, he's been holding. You know, but I think it's going to be a good game. And the way South Carolina played last week, if they play that way this week against Clemson, I'm like you. Clemson's been shaky all year.
I love it.
I got to go with South Carolina.
Yeah. All right, so now we get to go into the other rival games. On Thursday night, on Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving, by the way, Mississippi State taking on Ole Miss.
The Egg Bowl.
The Egg Bowl, there it is. A lot of these have names because they've been rivals for a long time. Ole Miss ranked at 14th, Mississippi State unranked. So that game at 7 o'clock. I think that'll be a fun game to watch as well.
Something to watch. Be a good one.
On Friday, two ranked teams, two that you wouldn't think would be ranked actually going against each other. Tulane, the Green Wave, taking on the Bearcats. Tulane at 21, Cincinnati at 25.
Oh, okay. So that's probably for the whatever conference they're in, the American Conference.
Yeah, both teams are 9-2.
Is this this isn't the conference championship game?
This is just next week.
Okay.
So NC State taking on North Carolina, again, both ranked. North Carolina at 13. Well, they were at 13, but rankings haven't come out yet.
NC State, North Carolina?
Yeah. Ugh. I know. You hate NC State.
I hate NC State.
But North Carolina, they ain't been playing good.
No,
They just got knocked out by Georgia Tech.
They did. I think NC State's going to take this one, even though they're 7-4. UCLA taking on Cal. Chris, this is your big one here. Florida taking on Florida State.
Oh, baby. I can't wait for this game. I hate Florida. I grew up a big Florida State fan. Florida State's on fire this year. They're 8-3. Their quarterback, I just saw this today, highest QB rating for the month of November in the nation. Florida State's quarterback. I'm so proud of them. Seminoles, good job. Go. This game's in Tallahassee. It's going to be exciting. They're going to kill Florida. I can't wait.
You want to go to Florida Friday?
I got to work. Friday.
We have something to do anyway. Georgia Tech taking on number 1 ranked Georgia. I think after the rankings come out, Georgia will still be number 1. Taking on Georgia Tech again. Georgia Tech winning last week and taking on Georgia now. That'll be a fun game. I think Georgia's going to win that one though.
Roll them
out. South Carolina Clemson we talked about. West Virginia taking on Oklahoma State. We have the Iron Bowl in Auburn and Alabama.
What's the spread in that game?
Alabama's favored by 22.
Oh, my God.
War Eagle.
Yeah, I'm pulling for Auburn in that one.
War Eagle.
I think we all are. Oregon State are playing each other, and that Oregon's a 3-point favorite. Do you got anything on that game?
Actually, I'm thinking Oregon's going to win that one. It is at Oregon State. This used to be such a great rivalry, especially when I was in high school, back when both teams were really good. Can't call it the Civil War anymore.
Yeah, you're not allowed to call it that anymore.
That's too
Somebody's
bad.
going to get mad. I'm surprised, we're not getting sued for saying the Egg Bowl at this point. As soft as these people are.
State, I got a kid, receiver, Boogie Johnson. Great kid, man. He's doing his thing down at Oregon State.
Right on.
I think Oregon State has a chance here. It's going to be a good game there. Iowa State taking on TCU, the Cyclones at 4-7. I don't think they have a chance against TCU, but
it's a big game. TCU needs to win.
TCU does need to win.
They need to win that game.
Utah taking Colorado. Utah got beat last week, and I think they're upset. And sorry for Colorado. I think you're going to get waxed.
Yeah.
29.5-point favorites are Utah.
What is Colorado? 1-9.
1-10 actually.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So good luck to the Buffs. Michigan State taking on Penn State. Penn State 18-point favorites in that one.
Wow.
Jeez.
What do you got for the Apple Cup, Washington and Washington State?
That's the last one on the list here, but
All right.
I got you. Washington is favored by 2.
Oh, wow. This game's going to be at Cougar Stadium.
It is.
So it won't be in Seattle.
Wazoo.
So is that on Friday or Saturday?
That's Saturday,
Oh, okay.
10:30 at night.
Okay, great. So
after we're
as soon as
done,
we're done with the game, we'll go and watch the Apple Cup.
Kansas State taking on each other. Notre Dame, USC, we talked about how big that is.
Notre Dame. We need that.
We need that. We need Notre Dame to win that game.
I'm hoping for USC, man, because I'm telling
we
you, more of
need
these teams
Notre
lose.
Dame.
I understand.
We played Notre Dame. We need them to win.
I get that, but if USC loses, then they're gonna put Alabama at number 5. I'm telling you right now.
Okay, they could be at number 5. I don't care. Five doesn't get them in the playoffs.
Don't overlook Alabama.
5 doesn't get them in the playoffs. They could be 5.
They could jump to 2.
They could be 4.1. I don't care. As long as they're not 4.
Georgia Tech will pull up the upset.
Notre Dame's gonna win. Notre Dame's gonna win this one.
I think you're right. I think Notre Dame's probably gonna win.
Tennessee and Vanderbilt are playing. Tennessee a 14-point favorite there.
That's it.
Yeah.
How do you play?
UCF taking on South Florida.
That can go either way.
UCF's a 19.5-point favorite.
Wow.
Yeah, right. LSU and Texas A&M. LSU with a 10-point favorite there, even though A&M with the very close games. And then the one that I skipped, I may have done it on purpose, is the game. The game, we all know. You can see who we're rooting for. No guess there. And I know we have people that watch us that root for that other team. But good luck.
I've been getting flack on my social media. I'm loving it. It's that week.
Yep.
I can handle it.
Oh, yeah, we get it all the time.
Used to it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, everyone loves to hate winners.
Well,
so
I mean, like I was telling them, and y'all can probably back me up on this. Each time that Ohio State had beat that team up north, we had an Akron kid on that team that came and showed up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Beanie Wells, the Pittmans. You know, now we got Chip, Tremont, train him. And I think they've been holding him back for this game. And he's the best running back on that team, but they just ain't put him out there yet.
He had a great game against Maryland.
no, Chip
didn't play.
He didn't play.
Freshman.
Traylon?
No, you're thinking Travion Henderson.
Okay.
Anderson.
Okay.
Chip is the one that transferred.
Kid's a freshman.
In from
Okay.
defensive linebacker, but now with the running back room is in IR, so they have to ask him to come back over to the offensive side. So
Okay.
he's learning offense. He's been looking real good in practice. He's been dominating in practice. So I think this is the game they're going to break him out in.
Okay.
You know, because this is the kid they ain't prepared for, and I think he's the secret weapon. He's the X factor, and, you know, I'm pulling for the kid. You know, the kid's spirit is up. You know, I talked to him, and he's ready. He's ready.
Good. It's good. It's good to hear.
Ohio State is favored to win this game by 7.5 is the spread right now. But I think, honestly, I think this number is going to move once the official word on Corum comes out that he's not playing. I think this line is going to move. Ohio State would probably be favored by 12.
Well, it was always a close game, and you know, it always sometimes go to the wire, and they question our toughness.
Absolutely.
You know, and you know, the way that defense played last week and how they stepped up, you know, if they don't have a running game, they're in trouble.
Yep.
You know, if I were to go with my quarterback and their quarterback, I'm going with my quarterback. No. And one thing I like about my quarterback, what he didn't do last year, he didn't use his legs. This year, he's using his legs. Now that's another threat that they got to worry about. At first, last year, they didn't have to worry about him taking off running. Now that's another concern. You know, he's averaged over 10 yards a carry.
Yeah.
So that's pretty big for offense. You know, I mean, like, hey, if the passing game break down, he can use them legs and take off. And that would have made us successful against those guys in the past.
I agree with that. We have 3 games in the NFL on Thursday, again, being Thanksgiving. So we have Bills and the Lions. The Bills playing in Detroit for the second time in less than 7 days.
We don't even talk about the first time.
And actually, one thing I do want to talk about is the Bills were officially the home team for the game this past week. However, they told the Detroit people that they wanted to be in the visitor locker room and on the visitor sideline. That way they could kind of have that routine to be ready for Thursday as well. I thought that was kind of an interesting stat. I know we talked about the game. We don't need to talk about any more about it. But that was kind of an interesting thing that happened. The Giants playing the Cowboys in Dallas.
That happened.
Buffalo's favored by 9.5, by the way. Giants playing the Cowboys in Dallas. Dallas a 9-point favorite, and the Patriots playing the Vikings in Minnesota. Minnesota is a 2.5-point favorite.
Some good games. Usually we have really terrible games on Thanksgiving. You know, we usually have the Jaguars and the Cowboys or something. Cowboys are really good this year.
The Giants are 7-3.
Giants are playing tough. The Vikings are playing tough. The Buffalo Bills, the Lions aren't so tough, but I mean they actually get some pretty decent games this year.
Yeah, and then on Monday night we have the Colts and the Steelers.
Well, let's go Colts.
Yeah, they're actually favored by 2.5 points.
Well, Jeff Saturday on a roll as a coach.
He's undefeated.
It's undefeated.
Undefeated.
So other than that, Tampa's only a 3.5 point favorite coming into Cleveland, by the way.
Okay.
Kind of crazy. Let's see if there's any big numbers that jump out. Kansas City, a 14.5 point favorite. What a game last night, by the way.
Yeah, you mean Sunday night.
So that's right, Sunday night. Now.
Last night wasn't that good of a game.
No. Sunday night's game, though, that was incredible.
Yes.
Oh, God. Oh, that was a game.
Incredible.
Yeah,
That was the game.
What was the other stat that I had? Oh, Derrick Henry stat.
Oh, yeah, okay. That was Thursday night's game. I just wanted to say something real quick about Patrick Mahomes. I love Patrick Mahomes. He's a great quarterback. He just goes out and solidifies every week that he's the best. And he did it again in a rivalry game, at home, big game, down, came back, big pop to Kelce.
And he did it with Travis Kelce.
Yep.
Cleveland
Heights native.
Cleveland Heights.
Interesting stat in that game. Herbert had his second reception in that game. He threw the ball, bounced off the defender's helmet, and he caught it for his second reception on the season. He has almost as many receptions as, I don't know, pick somebody. There you go. Best stat, best play I've seen all season.
That was his first catch or something like that.
Same thing.
Well,
off somebody
so Derrick Henry now has just as many touchdown passes in his career as Kenny Pickett.
Yep.
Wow.
Threw his second touchdown of his career Thursday night to Austin Hooper, former Brown.
That was a good play.
It was a really good play.
What was the stat with that, though? He had 10 touchdowns for the 30 seasons, only the third person ever,
Yes,
something like that?
for 10 touchdowns in 5 straight seasons.
It's crazy. It's a lot of touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of work. All right, so we're kind of done with that. Let's throw in the curveball here.
Okay.
Well, first I want to say World Cup is on. We'll talk about that, get a little bit more next week. There was an upset already with Saudi Arabia beating Argentina 2-1. So Messi was not happy. He did get a goal, but it didn't matter. And U.S. tied against Wales, so they're showing up at least. All right, so now let's talk a little WWE.
All right, Survivor Series.
Coach is probably like, I don't know what that is. But we're going to talk about it because, we're a sports podcast.
His name ain't Stone Cold Steve Austin. I don't care.
Can I get a hell yeah?
Austin 316.
There it is. So we have Finn Balor taking on AJ Styles. Both had a long indie scene career. This is going to be a good match here. They've been feuding for a long time. Chris, give us some info on that match.
Actually, these two are very good friends. They've been wrestling together for years over in Japan. They're very good friends in real life, but I hope this match allows to be a good match. There's always interference between the Bullet Club and the Judgment Day that makes cause for disqualification or causes for a quick match. I like to see this match go to the wire and really get brutal.
I think Finn Balor wins this one.
I think so too.
Coach, who do you got?
I don't know. But I know what I do want to say. Since these two threw a curveball, I'm going to throw a curveball on them. So it's this female wrestler, right? Boy, she's hot too. And Bow Wow been throwing little shots at her, but she keeps saying she got a boyfriend. See, I'm up on you. And so Bow Wow trying to get her to wrestle him, and she, she checked him and stuff. But she's the champ. But I don't know who she is. I don't watch.
Bianca Belair.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Former track star at Tennessee.
Here's the thing. Yeah, she's great, but she's actually married to another wrestler.
Yeah. That's right.
So that's why Bow Wow has no shot.
Bow Wow, like little Bow Wow?
Yeah. He's throwing shots at
Montez Ford would whoop his ass.
Yeah.
She said, my boyfriend's being patient.
That would be a good fight. He's trying to fight him?
Yeah. Yeah. She's trying to set up a match for Bow Wow. For Bow Wow.
No, she literally went on.
Yeah, she checked him.
Good.
That's great.
Good.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, but good for her.
Yeah, she checked him.
It's not all scripted.
Well,
This little dude.
that leads me to our next match, which is Team Bianca. And she's teamed with Alexa and Asuka, which we knew. Mia Yim came back, who's married to Keith Lee in AEW. And there's still an empty spot left on that roster. Chris, you and I were talking earlier. I think that empty roster spot would be great for Becky Lynch to make a return.
I agree. I was thinking it was going to be Raquel Gonzalez, but I think Becky Lynch coming back would be a big, not only surprise, it'd be big for the sport, and it'd be big for the match. I think if it turns out to be Becky Lynch, I go with them in that match. If not, if anyone else, I'm going Damage Control.
Which is Dakota Kai, Io Shirai, Bayley, who made her return finally, Rhea Ripley from Judgment Day, and Nikki Cross, who is now back to Nikki Cross and not Nikki, almost a superhero.
Yes, thank God.
Thank God. U.S. Championship, we have Lashley versus Theory versus Rollins. Theory making his character turn. And we kind of have Lashley and Rollins kind of flipping their characters as well. So this match is interesting to see kind of which way they go, who turns face, who goes heel on that one. Lashley, another veteran like Bianca. Rollins is a champion right now, and I'm glad that they didn't bury Theory with his cash-in
Money in the Bank briefcase. I'm going. Once again, this is another match. I hope goes the distance. It's going to be kind of hard. Bobby Lashley in there. He's not known for long, grueling matches. He's a big guy. He likes to come in there and just pound and get out. But I think in the end of the day, I'm going Seth freaking Rollins.
Me too. I think he's going to take. You know anything about this one, Coach?
Man, if my brother was sitting here, he can tell y'all. He's a faithful. When they turn it on, I'm out the door. I'm old school.
Right.
Old school wrestler.
We have the Women's Championship, Shotzi Blackheart versus Ronda Rousey. I would love to see Shotzi win this. I'm tired of Ronda having a belt. Mm-hmm. It was a gimmick to start with, and I don't think it's working.
I've always never been a fan of Ronda Rousey, even in her MMA days. I just something about her just drives me crazy. She's a great fighter. She was a great champion, and she's not a bad champion in WWE, but there's no way she has any connection with anything. It's a different sport that she is trying to get, but she just can't get it. And having Shayna Baszler in her corner now, another former MMA fighter, but she actually is a better wrestler. So I think I have to give the edge to Ronda because I think Shayna is going to interfere. And plus, I like Shotzi, but
yeah, she's not your favorite.
She's not my favorite.
And then we have the men's Survivor Series match, the Bloodline versus the Brawling Brutes. The Bloodline being Roman Reigns, who's held the championship for
2 years.
2+ years. Jimmy and Jey Uso, Sammy. Is he Sammy Uso now? I don't know. And Solo Sikoa, which is the brother of Jay and Jimmy. So all the Samoans and then the Canadian and Sami Zayn versus the Brawling Brutes. So it's Sheamus, Ridge Holland, Pete Dunne, Drew McIntyre, and then the other Canadian, Kevin Owens, on the other team. I think this is going to be a fun one to watch. Yeah,
it was going to be a fun one. I'm going with the Brawling Brutes here. I think it's the great thing about Survivor Series is it's an exhibition. There's no belts on the line except for the two individual belts. So the Usos' belts aren't going to be on the line. Roman's belt's not going to be on the line. It's not, if Roman loses, it's not a one-on-one situation. I think that's where the Brawling Brutes are going to have the edge, especially in a War Games cage match.
Yep.
It's the best match of the year.
Yeah.
War Games.
I'm excited for that. And then also, since we're on this topic, NXT announced a new match that we talked about.
I don't think we have time for you to explain the rules of that match.
It's quick. It's a 25-minute match. People come in every 5 minutes, and whoever scores the most pinfalls wins. If you get pinned, you're not out of the match, but you have to take a 90-second timeout, and then you can come back into the match. Coach, I'll explain to you later. There's a lot to break that down, but it sounds fun.
Yeah.
I'm glad that they're doing something different, trying new things here in the world of professional wrestling.
Absolutely.
So, anything else to add here, Chris?
I just wanted to give a shout out to a friend of mine, Anthony Perozli. I hope I pronounced his name right. I just want to give congratulations. He won his first fight the other night, weight class 155. Fights out of Menor. Was fighting for a promotion called GFC over in State College, PA. Kickboxing match. TKO'd his opponent in 20 seconds into the second round. So give a big shout out to that guy. Awesome. Congratulations. Hope he has a great career. Sounds like he's on the right track.
Coach, anything to close us out here?
Yeah, since it's rival week, I mean, I get it. We all root for our teams, but I'm just talking about the high school level. Don't forget, these kids see what you guys post, and these parents see what you post. Be careful what you say. These are kids, man. Let these kids have their time. If you played back in the past, like when I played, it's not about when I played. It's about what these kids are doing today. And if these kids choose a school, that's a school that their parents chose them to go to. So let it be, man. Let these kids have fun. Let them have their time. Y'all sit in the stands and watch some good football.
Yeah, and I'll go with that too. Like Coach said, these are kids, and you're grown adults. Even in the stands, realize that the other team is kids as well. Even if you're cheering for the opposite team, these are still 16, 17-year-old kids. Realize that. They're not professional athletes. They're not getting paid. They're putting everything they have into this. Show them the same respect that you want your kids to have. It's kind of how I agree. I feel that that's the right thing to do. And that's a good way to end the show. So that's going to be it for us. We will get you next week when we have our championship matchups ready to go. And we'll go from there. Check us out next week.
Suckers.
Go Bucks.
Yeah. Boy.
Out.